there, how you doing? So it turns out two of the most frequent questions that we get are what is an entomologist and what types of careers are possible with a degree in entomology. So hopefully this presentation will help clarify those things and give you more insights into the vast, wonderful world that is entomology. So let's start off with what is an entomologist? So people usually say one of these two kinds of things. Someone who studies insects or someone who kills insects. These are the two most frequent answers. This is incomplete, right? This doesn't really capture all the kinds of things that you can do with entomology. So a better definition is a highly skilled professional who possesses a deep understanding of insects and applies their expertise in areas ranging from research and public health to education and industry. If we break that down, a highly skilled individual. What that really means is an education, getting an undergraduate degree or a graduate degree of some sort. Possesses a deep understanding, which means you really do understand all the connections between the organism and its environment and people and everything else. A deep understanding of the biology and every other component of the system. And then next, applies their expertise. So lots of individuals actually study insects, but also there are a whole bunch of individuals that apply their expertise in their particular job or area. So it's not just studying, it's actually being able to apply it in whatever the scenario is. And then finally doing so in all sorts of areas, from research and public health to education and industry. So what kinds of careers are possible with a degree in entomology? Well, these are the two that we started with: studies insects or is an agent or a specialist. And these are maybe the sort of images that come to mind. But really, there are all kinds of wonderful things that you can do with entomology. You can be a faculty member. There are all kinds of consultants and breeders that have degrees in entomology and do wonderful things. You can work in every aspect of business and industry. You could be a field scientist or an outreach coordinator, or you could even be a data analyst or a developer. So lots of possibilities for what you can do as a career in entomology. And so we're going to run through some specific examples and break it down into the major areas. So hopefully you get a little bit better understanding. And so to begin with, here are the four main areas: research, public and environmental health, education and outreach, and business and industry. And there are all kinds of different job titles that if you do job searches on all the various kinds of websites of what you might end up being. And here's a list of advisors and agents and analysts and breeders and consultants and curators and developers and doctors and faculty members and farmers and inspectors and managers, owners, scientists, specialists, and technicians. All of these are possible. And then what's really amazing is you can actually do that at all of these kinds of places. You can do it at academic institutions like colleges and universities or med schools and vet schools. You can work at different kinds of governmental agencies, whether that's federal like the USDA or the CDC, or various military outlets. You can do state and local governments like health departments or departments of ag or park and recs. You can work at nonprofits like the Audubon or Sierra Club or the Nature Conservancy. And then the list of businesses is enormous, right? These are just some of the most common ones: Bayer, Corteva, Syngenta, BASF, Cargill. There's just list goes on and on and on and on. Now what we want to do is think about some very specific job titles. So we're going to work through each one of these. For research, maybe you want to do research in ecology and conservation, and you could be a conservation biologist or an ecologist or a pollination ecologist or something like that. You can work in behavior and evolution. Maybe you're an insect behaviorist or an insect taxonomist. Maybe you're interested in genetics and molecular work, and you could be a chemical ecologist or an insect physiologist or a pharmaceutical researcher. Maybe you're interested in plant, animal, and human health, and you could be an animal health entomologist or a medical entomologist or a pathologist or a microbiologist or a parasitologist. Lots of options. Or if you're in the applied world, all kinds of things like an applied scientist, a biological control specialist, a digital agricultural scientist. You might work in insect biosecurity. You might be an IPM specialist. Lots and lots of different kinds of things. And all of these are available at academic institutions, government agencies, nonprofits, business and industry. For public and environmental health, maybe you might be a epidemiologist or a forensic entomologist or a medical entomologist or a public health entomologist or a doctor or a veterinarian. All these are possible. For education and outreach that has an entomological focus, the list is enormous of the kinds of things you can do. So you can work in a university setting or be a high school teacher or a curator or an outreach specialist. And once again, all of these kinds of places of employment, hire, and business and industry. This is just a small number of the kinds of things that you might be, but you might be a biological control consultant or an insect breeder or an IPM specialist, or you might develop products, a manager. Lots and lots of possibilities. And once again, there's a business angle at most of these kinds of institutions. So hopefully this provides a broad overview of what is an entomologist and all the different kinds of things you can do with a degree in entomology.